Are you ready to start sending your email newsletter today? Good, because in this video, I'll show you how to create an email newsletter and send your first email as total beginner. We will cover what tool to use, how to create and send your first email, how to get subscribers, and how to create forms for people to subscribe to. And this is not some techie video, but instead, we will use a beautiful pre-made templates and drag and drop editor. Hello internet people, my name is Robert. The easiest way to get started is to use email marketing tools. With these tools, you can collect subscribers to your email list, create a newsletter with beautiful templates, and schedule or automate your email. In this video, we'll be using a newsletter tool called Flodesk, which is also the sponsor of this video. But I've been recommending them for the past 2 years or so, much before they reached out to do this video. I think they have the most beautiful email templates, and it's probably the easiest tool to use out of the ones I've tested so far. So it's perfect for beginners. To start, just scroll down and click on the first link in the video description and you land on this page. And don't worry, they offer a free trial so you can try before you commit to anything. But if you use my link and you like this tool after free trial, you will get a discount of 50%. Or if you already sign up for the free trial, just use my coupon code TIPSWITHPUNCH, all capital letters, and you will get the same discount. Let's just sign up. Let me enter my email. And then secure password, re-enter it, and now we can create a free account. Now you can see that there's being sent an email to this email account, so just going to my email inbox, and you see here, welcome to Flodesk, and I'm gonna verify the email by clicking on this. And now you verified the email, but it's not very clear that it actually happened, so we can now sign up. So I still have the password here, and I just need to enter my email address like this, and now we can log into Flodesk. So there's like a welcome flow here, but we're just gonna click on got it here. As a first step, Flodesk is already asking us to create an email here. I just wanna skip this one because you never know if they change the flow. So if you click on this logo here, on the Flodesk logo, you actually land in the dashboard of Flodesk. When starting out with newsletter, one of the most important things is to determine who is your newsletter for. So who is your target audience? Is that WordPress website owners, YouTubers, mom bloggers, romantic comedy lovers? And don't be afraid to start with very specific niche, because it will be much easier to convince people to join your email list and build a community and really connect if you target very specific interest or a need. First of all, if you have some people that already sign up in another tool, here you can add them. So for example, if you click on this button here, you can add them individually. So for example, I could now add myself here. And then I can add it myself to segment, but I don't have any segments, so I'm gonna just save me as this. So now you see it appears here. So now I have one subscriber, which is myself. If you have a list, you can just upload a CSV file. So if you click here on this option, you'll notice that it just asks you here to upload a CSV. And if you need help, if you click on this link here at the bottom, download a sample, you can see what they expect. An Excel sheet like this, where you have probably the subscriber's name, maybe the last name, and then the email. Those are kind of the most important settings you need for the export. So if needed, you can do it here. But for this tutorial, we don't need it. So let's go into the email section and create our first email. And on this page, you can see they immediately ask, what's your email goal? So from here, you can choose a template. They have lots of templates here. And there, I feel like Flodesk has the most beautiful templates out of all the tools, just because they, I don't know, they look somehow very fresh. I like what they've done here. If you know what you're going after, for example, we could now share a news from here. Let's filter it by that. And now we can choose an email that we like. Let's say I like this one. So I want to maybe introduce myself, share some news. I can click on this and preview the whole email here. Okay, so this is how it's going to look like. And then I can check how it looks on mobile, because most people will be reading your emails on mobile anyway. And then I can click on customize. And now it will open up this template and we can change everything that we see. So this is the page we're gonna update, and it's so easy. You just click on any of the elements and you can now click, for example, for the logo. I could now click from here and change the logo to something else. So I have here already this prepared, and now it just uploads. And then you can add the website. So in my case, it's like this, and then let's save it. And you can see it changed that image immediately. If I don't like this text, I can just click on it and I can change it to whatever I want. So And that's how it is. I just change the text. If I'm not happy how the text font looks like, from here I can change the font. So for example, if I like this one, Georgia, and you can see that it updates it live. You can change from here the size. Maybe it's too big and it changes live as well. Font color, I like to have it black. So let's change it from here. And you can see it's just this easy to change things. If I don't like any of the elements, I can just click on it. And then here you can see there's a little trash icon. If I click on it, it'll delete it. And if I need to add new elements, I can always come here and where there's a plus sign, if I click on it, you have options here. So for example, here, if I want to have a button, I can just add it. You have a button immediately there. You can stylize it from here. You see that the corners change to be a bit more rounded. I can change the colors. For example, right now it's a bit too boring. So if I change it to a bit more like this, okay, much better. And then you can choose the position where the button will appear. Pretty simple, as you can see. You see that the button also has more options here. So for example, I can change font. Right now it's Helvetica, but probably Georgia. Since I've used it already, I would find it from here and add it so that I have same one for all of the elements. And then you can set the link, obviously, because there's a button, you want it to link somewhere. So I would now set it to my website or so, and then if somebody clicks on that button, obviously it will go to that URL. Okay, cool. And if you need, you can also attach a file. In this case, it will, when you click on that link, they can download something. So let me show you here, YouTube secrets. I've added here so that when we test this email, I'll show you how it works. But basically you have now this ID for this media. And then the last option here for button. From here, you can also change how the block looks like. So you can see that the block is actually the surrounding area of where the button is. So if you want to change there, here where you can do it. At any point, if there's any issues, for example, I now change the background color, but I don't like it. There's these two arrows. I can just undo what I've done and it will obviously just go back. And maybe you'll notice it also autosaves, so you don't need to always click on save to keep your changes. So go ahead and just explore all the elements they have here, but just keep in mind that different elements have different settings here and you can always find them from here on the right side. At any point, while building your page, always check your mobile as well, so that everything is nice on mobile, that you're happy how it looks like. In my case, I'm quite happy, so I'm gonna go back to editing. Next feature that I wanna show you is a way to personalize your email. So instead of you just writing like, Dear Madam, you can write actually Dear Robert or Dear Lisa. Let me show you what I mean. So for here, we need to select a text field, like this one here. I could say something like, what's up? And now if I press on add sign, I can choose to personalize. For example, by first name. If the first name is unavailable, display this text. So in this case, we can say what's up and then doc and insert it. So now it will say what's up Robert or what's up Lisa, or if there's no first name available, then it will be what's up doc. And just in general, text block is probably where you're gonna spend most of your time. So it works the same way as in any other text editor. So you can write your text and then once you've written it, you can add, for example, if I want to highlight something, from here I can make it bold, or if I want to add also a link, then I can also link it by selecting it, and from here I can make it into a link, and obviously you just need to add a URL like this, and then if you press on enter, it will make it into a link. You see it's now gray. Maybe the color is not the best for a link, but from here you can also adjust it if that's what you want. And then you can continue with the text. You also can make it into bullet points. Let's remove the bold, and from here we can add bullet points. If you don't like that it's, for example, center aligned, you can always change it from here to left aligned and so on. So this is how easy it is to just start writing emails. So let me take a second and write this email so that I have a proper one, because right now it's just a mess because I didn't update any of these sections. So let me come back to you. So this is the new email. You can see I completely changed everything here. I have an image here. Also, there's this YouTube video here. And one thing I forgot to mention is that you can grab one of these blocks and just move them like this by dragging it, and they switch places. And also I have a button here which links to actually not to a URL, but is an attached file. And I'll show you how that works now. One thing I noticed that also here, you see that, for example, some of the links are kind of gray, and I don't want that. I want the links to stand out. And you can change that by clicking anywhere on the canvas. And then you have here global styles, and from here you can change the link colors. For example, I would make them something like bright blue or something that is looks like a link. And from here you could adjust other things as well. And once you're done with your email, you can now go to the next step from here at the top. And then if you click on the continue, it's asking to add an address because required by ICANN. So I would add an address here. You don't need to add your home address, but maybe you have an office or somewhere where you're working, you can add it here. This way you also will be valid and comply with the anti-spam rules. So let's add an address here. So I've added my address here and also the time zone. and then just click on save. And this address thing is kind of mandatory for all the tools. It's not only Flodesk, it's something that is just mandatory. And now you can see that the address actually shows up here at the bottom. All right, so now we can go and click on next again. Now it's asking for social accounts are not linked. Okay, that's a good point. So from here, I can just delete this section, or I could have just linked those. I'm gonna click on next. So what I like about Flodesk, it takes this in steps. It just asks you questions, you just answer them, and then the email is done. So where's this email coming from? So in my case, it's coming from my email like this, and then let's click on continue. Subject line, you would add your subject line here. One thing about the subject lines, you need to take them super serious. Some email marketing gurus, they talk about you should spend 50% of your time on subject line and the other 50% on the actual content. And why is that? That's because if somebody is not intrigued by your subject line, then they're not going to even read what you wrote in the email. So to improve the open rate, you need to write great subject lines. If you're interested in this topic, I would check out this video right here where we dive into subject lines, and it's really in-depth video about how to write a great one. The preview text is something that shows up sometimes, and you can see here I have a screenshot. It's this text after your subject line, and in some, for example, mobile phones, this in most cases won't even show up. So if you want to add something here, you could. Otherwise, you'll just take the first text from the email. So in this case, I could say, since this is a personal note, I could write something a bit more dramatic. So something like this, just to intrigue people to click and see what's in the email. All right, then I can click on continue. So here we could just add segments or individuals. In most cases, you'll be adding segments because you don't want to write one email to one person. And here we can just select include all subscribers, because I only have one, so it's not a lot. And then you could also exclude some other segments, but right now it's not really possible. So let's click on save. Now here it's just confirming one recipient that we're gonna send this email to. If I go forward, you can see now that when should we send this email, you can choose at this point if you wanna schedule it or send it right now. Let's schedule it, I'm gonna send it later, and let's say I'm gonna send it on Wednesday, and select time from here. Let's say best time for morning, 5:30 a.m. Well, that's kind of early, but let's give it a go. And then from here, you could click schedule. Now you can see here, okay, let's double check this. One on a personal note, we'll begin sending Wednesday, blah, blah. So you just double check that everything is right, and then you click on schedule it. And in the Flodesk dashboard, you can see in the email section that now we have this email here, and it's scheduled for May 24th. And here's the email in my inbox, and you can see that it shows up nicely. I have the image, and here the variable, it changed to my first name. That's what we kind of expected. And then you have the text, the YouTube video. If I click on it, you can see that it starts playing in YouTube. And then you have this button. If I click on the button, you can see that it will open up the PDF file that I uploaded. From here, the person can just save it, and then they have that file, which is great because then you don't need to put files on Google Drive. You can just upload it directly on Flodesk. And just in general, I advise you always send the email to yourself first, just so to see that everything works or there's no any issues or any spelling mistakes. Now, the most common way to get people to join your newsletter is to offer them something like a free guide, checklist, helpful resource, or even a side story of one of your characters in your novel. It doesn't really matter what, as long as it is digital and people will find it valuable enough to give their email address in exchange for the freebie. In the email marketing world, this is called a lead magnet. And just remember, there is nothing stopping you from having multiple sign-up pages which offer different lead magnets. But that's why it's so important to know your niche and what people would find useful in that niche. For example, if you're a finance advisor, you could offer an Excel sheet for monthly budget calculator in one form, and in another tracker for in-stock investments. This way you have something relevant for different topics within your niche. Okay, we have now an email, but we need to find a way to actually get people onto our list. Right now I only have myself, so it's not really an email newsletter right now. So let's click on forms, and in here we can actually create a form that we can place on our website, or just have it standalone. If you don't have a website, you can just send people to this page. So I'm gonna click on new form, and again we have a few options for the templates. Let's browse from here what we want. You see that there are differences between them. So we have pop-ups, inline, and full page. If you have a website, go with the pop-up. That's probably the most used one. Inline is just an element on your page, and full page is separate page. So if you don't have a website, then choose this one. But to build one is exactly the same way in every case. So if we choose inline, we can have now the templates. Oh, I kind of like this one. So let's click on this one. Now we can choose a segment. So what is the segment? So I'll just call this, for example, let's say I'm going to place this on my About Me page. So I'm going to just say About Me form. So we're going to create that segment. So that way we know where they're coming from. Let's click on Save. Now, again, as in with emails, it's so easy to update here. From here, I could just update this text, change the fonts and stuff like that. So for example, from here, I could change to brothers. Here, I like this text. Now it's asking for the first name and the email. So let's take a look at these fields. So once you click on first name, you can edit this block. Here, you can add more fields. So you have right now the first name and email. Usually that's all you need. You don't want to ask too many questions at this stage. But from here, if you click add, you could add last name or any other custom field you would like to. So let's add a last name. You see, it just adds it there, and I don't want to have last name here. I want to have last name above email, so I can just drag it by clicking on these 6 dots here, and I can drag it above it. So now you can see that it's in the right order, kind of. Here you can also, if you click on this, make it, for example, first name can be required, but last name, it's an optional. And email is always required, so you don't need to actually even change that. If you want to change this text from here, you can just change it from here. We could say like a business email, and then you can see it updates here immediately. Okay, and if you don't like this background, you can just click anywhere here and change the canvas colors. For example, if I want to have a bit blue like this, I can change it from here. You can also enable the preferences so that your subscribers can change the preferences, but I wouldn't do this in the beginning. Just keep it clean, and the less you ask and give choices to people, then the less confusing it is for them to sign up. Once you're happy, you need to preview this on mobile just to double check that everything works. I like this. I think this works for me. And from here also, if you click on message, we need to adjust the thank you for subscribing message. From here, you could change it to minimal, just thank you. So this happens once they add their email address and the first name and they submit the form, they will see a text like this. I could say something like this. You can choose from here, or you can also add a custom one here, a custom message if you want to. I'm just going to use the casual one. And then let's go to the next. First of all, should we enable double opt-in? If you're starting out, I would definitely choose not to do it, just because it's much easier to get people on your list. And I think a double opt-in is a bit discouraging, because what happens with double opt-in? If people first sign up, they get their freebie, and then they get a second email which asks them, hey, did you actually sign up? You know, you need to verify that you sign up for the newsletter. So there's 2 steps for them to get verified as a subscriber. Whereas if you disable it, it's just immediately they are your subscriber when they enter their email address and submit the form. So for the beginning, I would keep it no. Once you get a bit more confident in this, I would choose yes, so that you have higher quality email list. And those people that are on your list actually want to be there. So let's click on continue. When subscribers opt in into a form, you can choose to notify me, so I get an email about it, but actually I don't want. If you're starting out, maybe this is exciting, but if you get a lot of emails all the time, people subscribing, it's just gonna get overwhelming. Then I'm gonna click on continue. After this form is submitted, display a success message, or you can redirect to a URL. Most of you will just use the success message, so let's keep it. And now we can click on continue. Now, since this is an inline form, we get this code. So it sounds a little bit scary, but it's actually easier than you think. So what we need to do is just copy this header code first and go to your wherever you build your website. In my case, it's Elementor and WordPress, but this will work pretty much in any page builder because all of them have this HTML block. So in Elementor, I'm going to search for HTML, and now I can drag this to wherever I wanted to display the form. And in the HTML block, I can now paste the first part of the script. This is a code that we just copied from Flodesk. And here I'm gonna just also copy this inline code. And if I go back again into this HTML block, after the first code, I can paste this part. You see it appears immediately. So let's go back to the page, and you can see it appears from here. So if I now preview this page, and if I scroll down, you can see I have the sign up form. I can now add my first name, last name. I'm going to skip because it was optional and I know that. And now I can add my email like that. And I can now subscribe. and I see the message here. If I go back to Flodesk and click on the logo here at the top and I go to audiences, you can see that I have now a second subscriber, which means that the form works. Awesome. I'm really happy with that. Okay, the hardest part of starting a newsletter is where to find people to join it, especially if you don't have a following yet. Unfortunately, there is no magic wand and you'll have to find your way. The most obvious places is your website, if you have one, but there are so many other ways. For example, guest blog posts or blogging on other platforms like Medium, email signature, online communities and forums, partnerships with other newsletters, or even physical events where you share your QR code that takes people to the sign up page. There's a ton of ideas, so if you want my full list of ideas, just scan this QR code and I'll send you a free cheat sheet. Did you see what I did there? One of the most powerful features of Flodesk is the possibility to automate your email flows. In Flodesk, this is called workflows. It's a bit more advanced, but I just want to show you the power of this because it will make your life easier and gives the possibility to automate your emails. Let's click on workflows and then click on new workflow. So as usual, there's at least few templates even for workflows. Let's choose out of these four. I'm gonna go with the welcome sequence. I just want to introduce people to what I do and what's the newsletter about. So from here, you can preview the email, but you're gonna change that anyway, so it doesn't matter as long as we have something to start with. However, if you don't want, you can also click here on a start from scratch and just do it your way. But I'm gonna just use this workflow for now, then click on customize, and this is how workflows work. There's a trigger, so something triggers this workflow, and then it will start sending this first email, and then after 30 days, it'll send another email. After 30 days, it'll send a third email, and so on. You can see that there's just like many emails going on, and once they are done with this, they've completed the workflow. Now, 30 days is way too long. I would say it should be 2 weeks max. Maybe every week I would send it. So I can click on this now and I can adjust from here a certain period, maybe day of the week, but I'm just keeping it to the period, change that to 7 days. And now I can go ahead and change the other ones as well. Then I could change also the email itself from here. If I click on it, you see there's an email. You can edit from here. Works the same way as a normal email that we already done. And then you can adjust the sender, the subject line, and so on. Same settings that we already had. It's just inside this workflow. Now, if you want to add something to the workflow, you can see that there's this little plus when you go in here. If I click on it, I could now choose other things. So I can send an email, I can add a time delay, which we see here. We can add a condition, and this is really important. We're gonna come back to this. And then we can also add some action. So let's add a condition. So first of all, let's choose move steps to the yes branch. So because we already have things underneath it, I want to move everything into the yes. Okay, so we could say now in the condition that when I click on it here, take an action. We could say, for example, okay, subscriber has clicked on a link. Okay, and then in the email, welcome letter. Obviously, we only have one email before it. You see here, one email before it. And there should be at least one link to click on there for this condition to work. But you can select from here, welcome letter. Right now, there's a few links there. So let's say I know this is the link. I click on it. So if people click on this link in this email, then this condition is true. So in that case, they're gonna get more emails from me. And then also in the no condition, you can send emails, you can add delays and so on. And this way you can build up these flows and they're super useful and they just help you to automate some of the parts of your business so that you can, for example, send sales emails after people have opened 3 of your emails. It just opens up so many possibilities if you start using workflows. And then obviously to start this workflow, we also need to add a trigger. From here, we can say, okay, if subscriber is added to segment, in this case, we only have about me form, then start this welcome workflow. Okay, cool. And now we can just click on publish. And once you click again on publish now, you have just created your first workflow. Now you know the basics of how to set up a newsletter, but to get most out of Flodesk, check out this video right here where I take you step by step through all of the technical aspects of the setup.